Welcome to Housing for Good, a podcast dedicated to housing topics and issues affecting our communities in McPherson County and beyond. With years of experience and expertise, hosts Chris Goodson and Karolyn Moore discuss housing challenges and opportunities with other experts from a variety of housing fields.
Good afternoon and welcome to Housing for Good. I'm Karolyn.
And I'm Chris.
And we are here today to talk to LaVon Ediger and Shulah Neff with Reuse It. But first, Chris and I are going to get to some news, and I think maybe Shulah's going to join us as part of this. I want to let you know, so Brush Up Mac is coming up in April.
I'm excited about Brush Up Mac. It's my favorite day of the whole year.
I know, I love it. If you are interested in serving or you need your home, you need to be put on the list to have your home worked on. There's an online form currently right now available on our website. We will have a printable form coming soon. I know we've had some people asking already about the form, so just that piece of information there. Chris, what do you have?
Well, and I do want to say other thing about Brush Up Mac. It is countywide, so if you know somebody in another community that needs help, please reach out.
Absolutely.
We don't want people to think it's just the city of McPherson.
Yeah.
So I wanted to add that. But I wanted to talk about, Shulah actually brought this up earlier. There's something going on in Lawrence right now that's very concerning, and it has to do with homelessness. The United Community Services of Johnson County actually did an article. So if you're interested in homelessness at all and what that looks like, please go to McPherson Housing Coalition page. It is covered on that. But basically what's happening is, and we try to we don't want to be political on this page. We try not to be political, but we also want to have people informed about homelessness. So what did you think this morning, Shulah, when you were reading through about that article on homelessness? Were you surprised? Did you know anything about it?
I think it was the verbiage of how, the politicians and people that don't understand it, how they spoke about homelessness. I had heard of other states and cities criminalizing homelessness, but I didn't realize that was also happening in Kansas. I found it really interesting that law enforcement is also against this.
Yes.
I found it interesting businesses were really upset, wanting people to get arrested for loitering and jaywalking as criminalizing that, how ridiculous that really seemed. And one business in particular was talking about how there was one specific guy who would do stuff all the time just so that he could get arrested because he was either cold, he needed a meal, or something like that. And how the business was upset at the police department for not, addressing that and, not arresting him more. And I just thought, this is somebody who needs, the need is somewhere safe to live. A roof over his head, food to eat.
Yeah.
And I thought it was also really interesting how they were saying rural other, people in the communities that do not live in cities don't want to pay for cities who are not criminalizing and arresting people as much as they should. And that shocked me too, because I was I would rather my tax dollars go to
What's crazy is that people are thinking that it's a big city problem. It is not.
No.
I mean, our cottages are full on a regular basis with families that are struggling, with seniors that are struggling. And so it's happening everywhere. And it can happen to anybody depending on their situation.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, think about a huge medical bill. I have a son with medical stuff going on, and easily he could be wiped out at any moment with these huge medical bills. Well, he didn't do anything wrong. He has a job. He's college educated, but he has medical bills he doesn't qualify for anything because he makes too much money, but that can take you down, especially seniors. So we have to take a look at that very closely. It's really interesting that this whole topic is coming up because we actually brought somebody here from Washington, D.C. to our housing conference, and she talked about the laws on the books in our own communities. And everybody here said at the legislative level, at the governmental level, the city, they said, well, we don't need to worry about that because that's never going to happen in Kansas. So here we are now. There's money out there available, but the legislators are saying, well, we're not going to give that to you because you're not enforcing these laws. So it's pretty complicated, and you have to look at it from both sides. As a business owner, I understand. I don't want somebody loitering outside my business because no one wants to come in if that's what's happening. Right. But on the other side, why are we not addressing this person who's downtown, who doesn't have food, who doesn't have a place to sleep? What is going on? So I just want to keep this in front of people that homelessness is really an issue, and it's coming to small town America, so people need to try to figure out solutions other than arresting people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We also want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're able to celebrate with family and friends, that you enjoy a good meal. Along that same line, the City of McPherson has a community Thanksgiving meal on Thanksgiving Day at the community building.
And it's free.
So that's awesome. And then we just want to wish everybody a wonderful holiday season. As I mentioned earlier, we are here with LaVon Ediger and Shulah Neff with Reuse It. LaVon, I'm going to start with you. Would you introduce yourself and your organization?
Okay, I'm LaVon Ediger, and I have been a community member here for 50 years.
Wow.
And in construction business, and leaving that, getting involved in instigating, I'll say, the Reuse It Center. And it's been a wonderful trip, a very busy, but a very wonderful trip. I will leave it at that and share more as we continue our conversation.
All right. Shulah, your turn.
Yeah, I'm born and raised, grew up here in McPherson. I was hired on at the Reuse It Center as a store manager in June of 2015.
Okay.
So I'm
Wow,
getting
you've
close to
almost
10.
Wow, that's
It doesn't feel like it
that's
at all.
mind-blowing, yeah.
So I thoroughly enjoyed working there and working with volunteers, and appreciate our board and just all the people that I've met in the community too. It doesn't necessarily always feel like work when it's something that I can go home each day and know I did something good today, or I helped someone, I can put, I can see faces in my mind of like, okay, we helped that person today, or, so that feels good.
So when were you founded? What was the exact date? Do you remember?
We opened November of 2011. The actual thought came up in 2010. It took us about a year to develop this idea. We started out with a blank piece of paper, and I'd been in construction business, and I saw how much went to the landfill. And I thought there's purpose for some of these things, and that needs to be considered. So a group from our church decided to take it on and explore it and put it together and see what might develop. When I say our church, that would be the First Mennonite Church here in McPherson. But we entered it with the idea that the community, we were the seed to start it, but we expected and hoped that the community would support it. And I must say it's gone much beyond our expectations of how well the volunteers in the community have supported that.
You really couldn't survive at all without them. And you
Not at all.
Yeah, and to be able to coordinate all those volunteers is unbelievable to me. Every day. Brush Up Mac, we have a big thing once a year with all these volunteers.
Once a year, one day.
And then we're exhausted. It's over. Yeah. But you guys are doing this every single day. It's amazing.
Well, I'm going to mention our 4 purposes, and it may be premature in your scheduling here.
No, you're good. You're good.
Because it started out with 3 purposes, and one was to keep things going to the landfill. In other words, taking care of with stewardship and God's resources given to us. The second was sell it at a very reasonable cost so that most anybody could afford it. And third, give our profits, or I should say our proceeds, to the community of McPherson County. And then we added the last one, and I think it's been such a big issue, and that's been building a community of social life and social encouragement, support, and service to the community. And I can share more when we get on the volunteers about how that has happened, but that's been a big issue, and I'm glad we added to that their purpose because it is being filled.
That's awesome. Are you surprised by how large it's gotten? I remember when you guys were on
First
you're
Street.
Still on West.
They were, but yeah.
West Kansas.
But you were
Kansas.
You were further east than you are now on the north side of the road. And I remember walking in there, and it was so packed.
Place
I
gave me
could
so much
not
anxiety.
believe how much stuff was in such a small place. So how long ago did you move to where you're at now?
When Shulah started, that was one of the reasons we invited her to begin with us, because we moved to the new building and needed a lot of construction work, so I took over the construction side of it as she kept the business moving along there. Let me back up on what we said. We had no idea. In fact, my first thought, well, maybe we could get a large garage somewhere to start this. Then we considered 39 different locations to find a place that would work or that we could even have access to. And I won't go into detail there, but exactly what you said, we were in there for open house for the community. One of the retailers came in there and says, "You've got a problem here." And boy, did my mind wander.
Yeah.
He says, "You're going to outgrow this in a year." And that was very prophetic because we did. Yeah, so we're very fortunate. We had checked into the local place where we are now. When we first started, it was not available. God has provided.
Yeah, he does provide, doesn't he?
Yes.
That's
So we moved
awesome.
the new location, the one that we're at now, we moved November of 2015. We were closed for that entire month, and then we had our grand opening in December.
What was interesting, we had our volunteers scheduled to help us move. I don't know how many people from the community, non-volunteers, brought their trailers and came and helped us move all the things that we moved to the other place. So again, an idea of this great community that we have.
Well, doesn't it feel like there's community ownership? Like people love reuse it.
Yeah, they do.
They love. I drive by there when you're open, and it's like people are waiting. There's a waiting line to get in on the days you're open. Speaking of which, what are your hours?
Okay, so Tuesdays we're open 1 to 3, Thursdays are 4 to 6, and Saturdays 9 to 1.
Yeah.
But a lot of our Thursday folks know we have a work day on Wednesday. We have like 20 to 30 volunteers that come in.
So
And
new stuff.
Oh, it's the same crew. Like, there are customers that want to be the first person in the door because they don't want to like miss out, and so they will
funny.
start up. There was a couple for a while. They would park at like 3:30 and just wait. And when other people would start showing up, they'd just stand by the door because they want to be the first people in there. You would think we're giving like something away for free, like it's Black Friday or something. We have like Black Thursdays every week.
With the good pricing that you guys have, I know we've purchased things in there,
yeah.
the Housing Coalition. Me personally, I know we've donated tons of stuff. Whenever we have anything material-wise, my husband's like, put it in the truck. We're taking it to reuse it. And what a great thing that we can just drop that off and we know that it's going to be put to use. This table, I think, didn't this table right here come from
think it did.
This table right here that you're sitting on with our
surprised
podcast came from here. And my husband he hated to put a hole in it because it was so nice that we put a hole in it here so we could put this whole
Well, and when we were
mic
furnishing the
system.
emergency shelter, I would go out and I would talk to one of these guys about the fact that I need a dresser or I need a small table.
Yeah.
So not only did they help us that way, but I can call Shulah and say, hey, I need this. Well, we don't have it right now, she'll say, but let me put it on a list, and she'll keep an eye out for it. So I absolutely love working with you guys. How many volunteers? We've been talking about volunteers. How many volunteers do you guys have?
On our roster right now, we have 86. Now,
Wow.
I know that, that's, wow.
That's a lot.
But, I could take like 20 more.
Okay.
You could. Okay.
People don't understand, so, and you guys have been in the back, right? Have you guys seen the whole
In the
operation?
warehouse.
Like, done the whole tour?
No, I don't think we've
there's
done the
a
whole
tour.
You just need to come in and do it sometime. So,
I didn't know there was a tour.
I always chuckle if once people see the entire, for instance, the senior center, their board, when we were doing check presentations at the end of last year, they were like, hey, can our whole board come out and can we get a tour of the place? And I was like, yeah, you sure can. Once they started seeing how big of an operation it really is, like the backside of it, I remember at the old location, we could run, minimum
when we're
2 or
open,
3.
yes.
Like, you didn't
4 to
need
6.
much.
Yes.
And now we have to at least, 10 to 12. And that's just like when the store's open. That's not even like processing everything that comes in that needs to be put out. It does take that many. And we also we have volunteers that take stuff home. Like our electronics guy, he just shows up once a week, takes the big bin of his stuff, takes it home, brings it. The vacuum guy, Gary, the vacuum guy.
So they have vacuum guys and they have electrical guys.
They have a bicycle guy.
Yes.
That is
Kurt,
awesome.
the bicycle guy.
That is
Yes.
awesome. How hard is it to be a volunteer? So let's say my husband says, I'm bored. Of course, he'll never be bored because I have lots of chores for him to do. However, if he happened to be bored, what would he have to do to get to be a volunteer?
Just come in. We have a pamphlet that has all of the available jobs, the times that they can come in. And then inside of that, we have a form, just a pretty basic form. If it's someone that's just going to be working in the back, doing a repair and stuff, form's pretty easy. If they're going to cashier, that kind of stuff, we do a background check on cashiers.
Makes sense.
Since they'll be handling money, that kind of thing. But it is super easy. Like, we had a guy that came in, for instance, Tuesday and said, I would like to volunteer. And I was like, here's what you need to do. Here's the form. He's like, can I fill it out right now? I said, yes, you may. So he sat down, he filled it out. And he was like, can I start tomorrow? I said, yes, you can. So,
Wow.
like, he came in Wednesday. I showed him around, gave him his packet, because we give him, like, a T-shirt, a hat. Obviously, we have some pamphlets with just kind of basic, information store policies, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And put him right to work. So you can start as quickly as you want. We had one guy, was it Daryl? He retired on Friday and started on, like, Tuesday. So it's not complicated. I always say, too, like, sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what I would do. And we have so many options. And I usually tell them, hey, pick a few that interest you, try it, see how it works, and if there's one you really like, stick with that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy.
And we're very flexible on that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So you kind of let people mold their job to whatever works for them. That makes a lot of sense. You can't burn people out. That's what we learned with Brush Up Mac. In the olden days, they used to paint whole houses, and pretty soon you never saw the person again. But if we can say, okay, we're going to keep it to this many hours, this is the jobs that we're going to do, pick something that you like to do, and then and it's a lot more successful than when you make them do stuff that they're like, oh, this is awful.
Yeah, you want them to have fun. Like, that's the thing. Like, I want them to continue coming back. And that's where we talk about, the community that becomes the group of volunteers. We could sit here for hours and talk about, people who have met other people there and now have, fast friendships. Specifically, I think of, like, so we have a lot of folks who come from Omega because they have, like, a requirement for community service. For instance, we had a gal that came and she worked at our tally table every Saturday morning. She didn't have a car, so we'd all take turns going to pick her up. Everybody just loved on her. I mean, again, we're not worried about what they've done in their past or whatever. We're just there. Some of them, they haven't maybe worked for a while and had a traditional job. They don't know what it's like to commit. So she started working there, and then she had a couple of real kind of big losses, a couple deaths in her family, and struggling financially to pay for that. Volunteers were like, hey, can we help out? We passed around an envelope. And I think we raised like $300 or $400.
Wow.
And of course, gifted that to her. She was like almost in tears because that was not... She's like, I didn't realize, like, the family that I had there.
And, I was just reading this morning. There's a book I'm reading, and I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't know the author. But it talks about how people who are homeless, people who struggle with addiction issues, so you mentioned Omega. It's transitional housing for people coming out of drug and alcohol abuse. And the one thing that this author is talking about is the fact that it's not just putting a roof over somebody's head. There's a societal and a social issue that goes along with being isolated. If you have somebody like this woman you're speaking of, she did not probably come from this community, but she came here to stay at this house to hopefully start a new life. She knows nobody. That's another issue that I love with your organization is you bring people in, they don't have anybody else. And pretty soon there's friends, there's a lifelong connection, there's a group of people to support them. We see that with the folks that we work with. That's something that they need. Sometimes those bridges have been burned. Sometimes it's death that took people away that were your support. So it's an amazing, amazing work.
Go ahead, LaVon.
Well, I'm going to add to that. One of the administrators at the Omega Project has said this numerous times, and we highly support them financially, as we do some others. But he said, hey, we really appreciate your financial support. However, he said, we also appreciate just as much how you mentor these Omega people and become friends and build relationships with them. And that has happened. It's a double benefit for them.
Yeah.
Another thing I was going to say, I'm skipping back to another comment earlier about when we first started Reuse the Center, we would take in building materials. We didn't say anything to anybody else. We were going to focus on building materials only. And people have said, I've got this old table at home. Will you take that? And pretty soon I've got this old saw. Pretty soon it's this. And not only old. And now, and Shulah can share a little later what we take and don't take.
Okay, great.
And that's one of the reasons this has expanded so much.
Yeah.
And the other thing, there's another organization, a great organization in Wichita and other communities, by Habitat organization called Restore. And I visited them a number of times. They don't need near the volunteers that we do. They say, bring it in clean and working, and we'll take it.
Oh, okay.
Don't get me wrong here when I say this, but we say bring it in.
Yes.
Therefore, we need so many volunteers to check it out, clean it up, and to repair it if it's repairable. That's not an invitation to bring just anything to us, but we would prefer very much so if you bring it in clean and workable. But that is not a requirement. It's a hope, but not a requirement. So that is a reason we need so many volunteers.
It's awesome. Walking through that store is for me, it's like, wow. It's overwhelming to walk through that store to see all the different things that you have, from doors to light fixtures to tables or whatever you could possibly imagine. I mean, this is a second or third table. I think we got a table. I didn't like it. I took it back, and then I got this one, and until I could find something that worked. But it's like and there's like 10 tables to choose from. It's just like an incredible. It's like an adventure day when we go in there, right?
It is.
It's an adventure day. What are we looking for? Well, I mean, there's just everything.
Well, my husband will say, "I'm going to reuse it." I say, "What are you looking for?" I don't know. I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've approached that topic, Shulah, tell us what you won't take.
Let me specify the stuff that we don't take. There's a good kind of a reason behind it. Some of the stuff just doesn't sell, and then since we are a business, we do get charged if we have to take certain things
to the landfill.
So, like, we don't take automotive tires, fully upholstered furniture, exercise equipment, propane bottles, mattresses, box springs, clothing, instruments, pesticides, chemicals, and used carpet. So, I mean, it's not a huge list, but several things like pesticides and chemicals, those are really hard for us to dispose of. Right. It's really expensive. And that stuff we can't sell anyway because you have to have certain
licensing or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then automotive tires and stuff kind of falls in there. And then with upholstered furniture, used furniture, there's a whole bed bug.
You don't need that happening at your store.
Absolutely.
The one I was surprised about was the exercise equipment. I would think that would move really easily, but it doesn't.
Really? It just sits there.
That's interesting.
And sometimes, like, we'll get weight sets in, and some of the, like, Omega guys, if they're working on Saturdays, like, oh, I want that. I'm like, okay, you can have that.
It becomes coat hangers.
Yeah.
So often.
Yes.
Okay.
So
well,
unfortunately.
That makes sense.
Well, I've had exercise equipment at my house, and yes, it is a glorified coat hanger in the front room.
I use mine every day at my house.
Okay, question.
Zero judgment.
What is the oddest thing?
Oh, jeez.
What is the oddest thing you've ever seen donated?
Is it embarrassing?
No.
Okay.
You say the one item. That's what's tough.
You should pick one, and I will. You share one. You have
Okay.
four?
Well, say it quickly.
Go
then.
ahead.
Okay.
Just go ahead. Tell us all
Well,
four.
for
I only
example,
have
and
one,
this is
so.
just an example, a 12-foot inflatable Santa Claus.
I think he was bigger than 12 foot, though.
Oh, my word.
It was bigger than 12,
He was bigger than 12 because remember he didn't fit underneath.
not the lower end.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the little kid ended up buying that, like, 16-foot Santa.
Okay,
It was adorable.
there was once a pie cabinet that came in. It was built out of used barnwood, bad barnwood, and a rusty screen.
Oh, my gosh.
And you're going to take that? And I said, my usual term is, let's give it a try. Do you know that sold for $80?
Oh, my word.
I mean,
It was an antique.
It was an antique, but so unusual, and it went to somebody's shop to display their product in.
Oh, my
Another one, we got a avocado green hair salon. What do you call it?
dryer?
Dryer.
Yeah, dryer.
My term was give it a try. It sold the same day to 4 McPherson College students, and I said, what are you going to do with that? It looks cool. We're going to do something with it. So it's just that, I mean, my point is, it sounds like we take just anything. We still need to be descriptive on what we take, but we do try to give anything a chance or give it some hope because somebody will appreciate it either for a need or for enjoyment.
So does he say, let's try it? Is that like his catchphrase at work? Yeah, I mean, at the
And I'm totally down for that. As long as it's, I don't want to put something out that we don't take. Because then it's like, if somebody sees it then in the store and they're like, oh, well, you took it that time.
Yeah.
But other stuff, sometimes
Okay,
it is
do you have a favorite oddest thing?
Okay, so, and it happened like, 2 weeks ago maybe? Ernie, which is one of our, he's like a fixture. I think has he been there since?
Even maybe before we opened.
Yeah. We love him to death. He's a farmer, so he can fix, jerry rig, whatever. Anyway, he's like, you got to see this. And it was a tin little cup. and it had like imprinted on the side was like nursery rhyme characters.
Oh.
And he said, look at the bottom. And this thing was like smashed. Like, I had seen some things. And turned it upside down, and it's like Frank's first drink out of a cup. And it was like 1929 or something on the bottom.
Oh, my word.
Wow.
And we still have it in the back because he's like, I can't throw it out. Like, it's like a family heirloom or something.
Wow.
Like, such a cute little,
Somebody probably didn't realize that when they
probably just
whenever
looked
they
at
were
it
just
as like
putting it in a
junk.
box.
You know,
when
'cause it
you're
was all
going through your
crumpled up.
parents' stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I'm kind of done at this point. Let's just get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do want to affirm Shulah's statement and say it again. That doesn't mean just bring anything in.
Yeah.
When I say let's give it a try, if it's been accepted by the receiving team,
Yeah.
and then there's question on it, then we say let's.
Yeah.
If we make a decision, let's don't give it a try. But often we say let's give it a try, maybe for a week. And so I just want to emphasize that we still do have limitations, but we try.
Well, you only have so much space.
That's right.
You can't just put. You have a huge store, but there's only so much space. So you got to be really smart about how you're doing inventory.
Well, and the crazy thing, when we first moved over there, we had no intention of the warehouse showroom being selling space. That was just all going to be storage. And like shortly after we opened, we realized, we need more room. So that.
And we've developed a courtyard outside. There's 2 different stations outside that we have.
Yeah, the outside area.
Yes.
So I've been in those areas.
Yeah.
Just haven't been in the secret areas that you have to have a tour on.
I know. We're coming out, guys. We're coming out. Okay, you mentioned earlier about donating the proceeds to nonprofits and different organizations. McPherson Housing Coalition has been the benefactor of donations from Reuse It. How many agencies are you able to help yearly?
I think there's like 17 that we do routinely. But then this last year, so sometimes like each year we kind of make a map of like, for our budget and a donation schedule of who we're going to donate to. And then we have some flex in there. Like sometimes throughout the year, people will apply or say, hey, we need money for this or money for that. So like this year we had 3. So this year we did about 20 different organizations. I think by the end of the year it'd be like 21.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Which is fantastic. So if you want some numbers, I've got some numbers.
That's what I was going to ask. Numbers.
Okay, this year so far we've done 45,000.
Wow.
If you come in our store, we have this giant thermometer. That's been super fun. And so we put on there kind of like our goal this year was 51,000, which we're going to meet that. We're going to surpass that. We don't have full numbers until a couple more weeks, but that's super exciting. So far, we've done 45,000 this year. Since inception, that number is 589. Well, I'm going to say 590,000. That's the closest.
Since you started.
Since we started.
That's incredible.
So
That is
by the end of this
amazing.
year, really hoping it'll probably pass that
That's
600,000 number, which is nuts. Now, I forgot to grab the number. So you kind of mentioned this earlier. The places that we financially support, we also do what we call in-kind donations, so product donations.
Yeah.
And so we do have, I want to say that's probably around 10,000 since inception. So we keep track of that. This year, we started our Coom voucher program, which I was so excited because we've talked about we can't, vet individuals. We'd love to just help everybody that needed, but we don't have a way to vet that. So we started a program through Coom where Shulah, she vets them, and then they can come in and get a free washer or dryer.
Oh, wow.
We've done some furniture. We even did a toilet. And we're close to around $2,000 donated in product to just individuals that have needs in our community.
Oh, that's a great partnership.
We have a client, she has 4 children. Her washer decided to quit, and she just could not afford to buy a new one. So with the voucher program through Coom, she was able to get a washing machine from you guys. And it was like, that is such a blessing. Such a blessing.
Yeah.
We do have, may I interrupt
Yes,
here? We
please,
do
go
have
ahead.
guidelines as far as who we will work with.
Yeah.
Because it could be endless. We have to, unfortunately, have had some guidelines. But basically, we say the basic human needs of food, clothing, shelter, and lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Which would be such as Omega Project and STEPS and some of these lifestyle changes. So that's our basic core group that we give to. But then we do have some guidelines for evaluation. So just so people are aware of that this is our group that we try to lead. I mean, all the other organizations have great programs. And the other thing I would say, I think we've, as well as you people have with the McPherson Housing Coalition, have worked with a lot of the other charities in town. We've worked together to accomplish serving the community in various different ways. But that's been a wonderful discovery that we work together. In fact, I need to say this. Before we started, Chris had just started the McPherson Housing Coalition. So somebody suggested, go see Chris, which I did. She was so helpful and encouraging, that also even gave us some guidelines on the guidelines that you use for this organization, and were very helpful in for us to set up our organization. And thank you for that.
You're welcome. What an honor it was, and wow, look what happened from it. So that makes me just tear up a little bit to think that I was just a tiny little part of this incredible ministry that you guys have and how you've helped people. And that's what we're here for. You know, we have I think we have 41 partners throughout McPherson County. McPherson Housing Coalition does not do this alone. I mean, that's the one thing that we understand. I think you guys were one of the first groups to donate toward the Oak Harbor Cottages. I came and talked to your board of directors, and they gave us a nice donation, and then they gave us whatever we needed. You'd say, hey, come here. We might have some materials for your project, and so people came in, and we're so grateful to you for everything you do for us and our community and people. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of our final questions is there anything else you'd like to share about the organization that we haven't touched on so far?
Let me share our mission statement, because I don't think
That's right.
we did that.
Yeah,
and so I think that's important. As God's stewards, our ministry collects a variety of new and used items, selling them to the community, sharing God's gifts, saving the earth's resources, and serving others. And then also, when you come in our store in the very front, we have a theme verse that we really felt kind of embodied what we do. And that's 1 Peter 4:10 says, as each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. And so when I think about the Reuse It Center and the community we have, it is super unique in the fact that we're kind of this hub for support for local nonprofits. And, each year I feel like we're kind of blown away by how much we're able to do. Even during the pandemic, when we were closed for months on end, we still kept our donation schedule. We were still able to donate out. And I think about the impact of just even on our customers. I'm going to share just a short, tiny little story. We had a customer that came in, and he had some sort of a mobility issue. He needed a wheelchair. And what he had was this chair with the little wheels. So he had no way of getting himself anywhere. Somebody had to push him. We were trying to figure, it was Thursday, it was crazy in there. We had, I don't know how many gajillion customers. And we were trying to figure out a solution. And so one of our other volunteers, Fran, was we don't have anything here. What are other, and so we know that the senior center often has free equipment that they can give away. I can't remember the other place, but we talked about those. And then LaVon was someone had asked if we had anything in the back. And I was last time I checked, no. But he was I'll just run back and see if we have anything. And as he went back there, somebody was literally donating 2 wheelchairs, at that exact time.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. So LaVon takes time. And then they needed a little bit of work, but LaVon took the time. And I mean, we got him into that wheelchair. I mean, the lights were off. The store was closing. And he got in the chair, and he threw his hands up in the air. He was so excited that he was able to move. I think we were all tearing up. It was such a special moment in the chaos of everything that day. We were able to help this one person with this chair. He could be more mobile, and everybody was in on it, you know?
That's awesome.
And that's the importance. I get goosebumps. Sometimes those are the important things of what we're doing. We're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, not every day is glamorous, and some days, in management you have to deal with stuff, and not everybody gets along, and things can feel chaotic, but we're all coming together for the common good, and we do so much good in the community. And the heart that all of the volunteers, even LaVon, for each person that comes through the door, you don't see that in a lot of places.
That's true.
We consider a business, but just as important a ministry.
Yeah.
And I think with McPherson Housing Coalition feel the same way. I've heard you say.
We do feel the same way.
Yes.
Yeah. If you can help one person sometimes, that's all, just one person.
You know, it's so easy at the end of the day to ask, well, how much money did we take in today? But we also try to ask the question, was there one person that especially helped today? And we consider that part of our ministry.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, this was so good.
All right, do you want to ask your final question?
Oh, sure. Okay, this is a question I ask everybody. It's not on your little paper because I like to surprise people. It's not a bad question, but I always ask, I know, right? LaVon's taking off his stuff so he can't hear it. But so if you had all the money in the world and all the restraints were taken away, what would you do different, or what would you imagine that you could do at the Reuse It Center if that was a possibility? What would that look like?
No boundaries.
No boundaries. No boundaries. That's why I like to take people by surprise. Usually everybody comes up with something.
I don't know. We've always, I go back to Leroy Schmidt. He was one of our really dedicated volunteers that passed away very kind of unexpectedly this last year. But one of his goals was, I just want to get to where we donate as much, maybe $100,000 or $200,000 a year. And I think about that too, like the impact on our community
Would be incredible.
That much would be on our, to be able to help. And I think that's the thing of, it would be exciting to empower all these different places that are already good at what they're doing.
Yes.
Giving them as much funds as possible.
And those unencumbered funds are so important.
They are.
Because then you get to choose what's the most important thing that you really want to accomplish, or who needs the most help, or what does that look like. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Do you have something different?
Well, it's very related very much to that. Instead of us doing 200,000, and maybe you were alluding to this, we have had probably 10 different inquiries whether we want to start another Reuse It Center elsewhere. And I say no. However, I will help do the best I can, or we will do the best I can to help you start one. And I think we've had about 10 inquiries. Out of those, I think 2 have developed. But we try to explain what's involved, and it takes a lot of effort. You know how much effort a volunteer organization takes. And thanks to Shulah and our managers and our board, and I have to say this, volunteers are the most prized thing that we have. We couldn't begin to. We have to have donors, we have to have shoppers, we have to have leadership, but none of this could happen without great volunteers. And we think, like a lot of places, you have opportunities to be a benefit to volunteers also. One thing comes to mind. One of the doctors here in town suggested to a patient that he consider working at the Reuse It Center. He had a problem with depression. He came there and he thanked me 20 times how thankful he was to be able to work in a volunteer situation. And I'm saying that's true for most all volunteer organizations.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is the camaraderie that's built. Some volunteers come in with a trade background that they can work on things, and others come in with nothing, but they soon develop and learn something. And there's one of the people that has worked on electrical. He hadn't had much electrical. He hasn't there now, but he worked on electrical. And he kind of got training there and got into that and got... So there's a purpose. They develop a purpose being there.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us today on our conversation.
Thanks for having us.
You can leave us a review or comments at housingforgood@mcphersonhc.org. We hope to see you next week. Have a wonderful day.
Wonderful holidays.
Yes.
And thank you for what you're doing and how you have supported us and invited us. Thank you.
Yep.